You ever notice how some people walk into a room, and before they even say a word, you can already feel their energy? You don't need them to explain what they've been through. You just know something's heavy, something's guarded. And here's the thing, a lot of single women don't even realize they're carrying that same type of energy. They think they're just being careful, just protecting themselves, but what men are picking up on feels completely different. It feels like a wall, and men don't always know how to articulate it. They just know they don't feel invited in. See, protection is good. We all need boundaries. Boundaries are healthy. Boundaries say, this is where my line is, and if you respect me, you'll honor it. But armor doesn't just keep out the wrong men. Armor keeps out everyone, and that's the difference. When you've been hurt, when you've been lied to, when you've given your heart to someone who didn't value it, it's only natural to want to protect yourself. That makes sense, but if every conversation, every date, every interaction has to fight through this invisible wall you've built, a good man won't feel like he's meeting you. He feels like he's meeting the version of you that's still dealing with what the last guy did. And that's not fair, to you or to him. Think about it. A man sits across from you at dinner, and you're smiling, you're polite, you're saying all the right words, but deep down your guard is up. You're analyzing, you're cautious, you're waiting for him to make the same mistakes someone else made. And men are more intuitive than you think. They don't always know what's wrong, but they know something's off. They feel that defensiveness, and instead of leaning in, most of them pull back. It's like trying to hug someone through a brick wall. You can have the kindest heart in the world, but if you've covered it up with layer after layer of protection, how's anyone supposed to get close enough to see it? Here's the shift. There's a huge difference between being wise and being closed off. Wisdom says, I've learned from my past, and I'll recognize the red flags when they show up. Closed off says, I'm not letting anyone close enough to even show me who they are. One allows love to find you. The other blocks it before it even has a chance. Men don't respond to perfection. They respond to openness. They respond to authenticity. They respond to the woman who can say, yeah, I've been through some things, but I'm still here, I'm still hopeful, and I'm willing to see what's possible. That's the kind of energy that makes a man want to lean in, to pursue, to stay. So if you find yourself single and wondering why men keep pulling away, ask yourself this. Am I protecting myself with healthy boundaries, or am I hiding behind emotional armor? Because boundaries invite respect, but walls only guarantee one thing. You'll stay safe, but you'll stay alone. And that's not what you truly want. You don't want to be untouchable. You want to be loved. And love can't reach you if it keeps hitting the walls you've built. So the challenge is simple. Keep the wisdom, drop the armor. Let the right man discover the real you, not the guarded version of you. One of the biggest shifts that happens in dating today is how often women step fully into what I'd call their masculine energy without even realizing it. And let me be clear, there is nothing wrong with being strong, independent, successful, capable. In fact, those are some of the most attractive qualities you can have. A good man admires that, he respects it, he's drawn to it. But where things start to feel off is when that strength takes over so much that it leaves no space for him to show up in the way he wants to. Picture this, you're on a date, and from the very beginning, you're leading everything. You choose the restaurant, you dominate the conversation, you make the plans for the next time before he even suggests it. Again, nothing wrong with initiative, but what men feel in those moments is that there's no room for them to step in. They don't feel needed, and whether we like it or not, men are wired to want to provide, to contribute, to feel like they bring value. If all of that is already handled, they don't see where they fit. It's like dancing. Two people can't both lead the same dance. If you try, it just turns into a tug of war. Someone has to lead, someone has to follow. That doesn't mean following is weak. In fact, it takes a lot of strength and trust to let someone guide you across the floor. But when both are trying to control every step, the dance stops feeling fun and starts feeling like a competition. A lot of women have spent so much time in survival mode, building careers, taking care of themselves, maybe even raising families on their own, that the masculine energy of providing, solving, fixing has become second nature. It's gotten them where they are, and they should be proud of that. But if you never turn that part of you off, if you never lean back and allow space for softness, a man doesn't get the chance to experience your feminine presence. And that's what draws him closer. Men don't want to compete with the woman they're trying to love. They don't want to feel like they're auditioning for a job interview every time they sit across the table. They want partnership, yes, but they also want polarity. They want the balance of energies that creates attraction in the first place. If both people are showing up in the exact same energy, strong, dominant, leading, there's no spark. It feels flat, and this doesn't mean you change who you are or shrink yourself down. It means knowing when to lean back and let someone else carry a piece of the load. It means allowing him to open the door without insisting you've got it. It means letting him suggest the next step instead of always having the plan ready. Those little shifts send a big message. They say, I trust you, I don't need you, but I welcome you. And that distinction changes everything. Because men are not intimidated by strong women, that's a myth. What pushes them away is not strength. It's when strength leaves no room for connection. What keeps them close is when they feel like their role in your life matters, like they're not just standing next to you, but actually walking with you. So the challenge is not about being less, it's about balance. Strength and softness, independence and receptivity, knowing when to lead and when to lean back. That balance is what makes a man want to stay, because it doesn't just impress him, it inspires him. One of the hardest truths to face is how much energy we give off when we're trying too hard. A lot of women don't even realize they're doing it because their intentions come from a good place. They just want to show interest. They just want to connect. They just want to make sure he knows they're serious. But what men pick up on isn't effort, it's pressure, and pressure is one of the fastest ways to make a man pull back. It can be subtle, over-explaining yourself when there was no need, sending that extra text just to check in, offering more of your time, your attention, your care than what's actually being reciprocated. None of these things feel desperate in the moment, but what they communicate is urgency. And urgency says, I need this to work. I need you to choose me. That energy doesn't come across as confident. It comes across as anxious. Here's the thing, a confident woman doesn't chase. She doesn't audition. She doesn't rush to prove that she's worth someone's time. She knows she's worth it, and because she knows she can move slower, she can allow things to unfold, she can give space for a man to step forward. That patience is powerful. It tells him, I'm not in a hurry. I'm not afraid of losing you. If you're the right one, you'll stay. Men aren't looking for perfection, but they are incredibly sensitive to pressure. If they sense that a woman is attaching her sense of worth to how quickly he responds, how soon he commits, or how much effort he's putting in right away, it changes the dynamic. Instead of feeling drawn to her, he starts to feel weighed down. Instead of seeing her as a partner, he starts to feel like he's responsible for her happiness. And most men won't stick around under that kind of weight. The irony is, when you try to speed things up, when you lean forward too much, when you give more than you're receiving, you don't actually make a man commit faster, you make him retreat, because real commitment comes from choice, not pressure. And choice requires space. Think about it like this. If someone is constantly in your ear, constantly checking in, constantly making sure you don't forget about them, eventually you don't feel closer to them. You feel smothered. You don't feel excited. You feel trapped. That's exactly what happens in dating when a woman starts giving off subtle desperation. The better approach is to lean back, to give as much as you're receiving, to show interest, yes, but also to show self-control, to show that you have a full life, that you're not waiting around, that your happiness isn't dependent on whether this one person decides to step up or not. That communicates confidence in a way words never can, and that kind of energy is magnetic. It makes a man want to pursue, because he feels like he has room to step into the role he's meant to play. It makes him feel like he has to earn you, not that you're trying to earn him. And when a man feels he has to earn you, he values you more. So if you catch yourself texting too much, explaining too much, giving too much pause, ask yourself, am I moving from a place of confidence or from a place of fear? Because one invites love in and the other quietly pushes it away. Confidence is patient, and patience always attracts more than pressure ever will. One of the most overlooked things in dating isn't what you say, it's how present you are when you're with someone. A lot of women don't realize the kind of energy they give off when they're constantly busy, distracted, or half invested in the moment. It might not be intentional, but to a man, it can feel like he's sitting across from someone whose mind is everywhere except here. And when that happens, he doesn't feel a connection. He feels like he's competing with your phone, your schedule, or your to-do list. Presence is powerful. When a woman is truly present, she's not just hearing words, she's engaged. She's listening, she's laughing, she's asking thoughtful questions, she's making eye contact, and men notice that, they feel it, they feel invited into the moment. It tells them you matter right now. That kind of energy is magnetic. It's warm. It makes a man want to lean in, to keep talking, to keep showing up. But when the opposite is true, when you're distracted, when you're rushing, when you're treating a date like a meeting you need to squeeze in between errands, he doesn't feel important. And men don't pursue where they don't feel valued. So many women are incredible multitaskers. They've built full lives, they're managing work, family, friendships, goals, and all of that is admirable. But if you bring that same always on energy into dating, what it communicates is, I don't have time for you. Even if that's not what you mean, that's what it feels like. An attraction isn't built in chaos, it's built in calm. Think about the times you've been around someone who made you feel like you were the only person in the room. Didn't it feel good? Didn't it make you want to stay longer, open up more, and trust them with a deeper part of yourself? That's exactly what men feel when a woman is fully present. It doesn't take grand gestures. Sometimes it's just putting the phone away, leaning in, smiling when he's talking, showing genuine curiosity about what he's sharing. Those little things make a man feel seen, and being seen is what keeps him coming back. When presence is missing, it creates the opposite effect. A man walks away thinking, she's nice, but I don't think she's really interested. He might misinterpret distraction as disinterest. He might mistake busyness for rejection, and before you know it, he stopped pursuing, not because he wasn't interested, but because he didn't feel there was space for him. The truth is, presence is less about time and more about attention. You can spend an hour with someone and make them feel invisible, or you can spend 15 minutes with them and make them feel like they matter. Men aren't looking for perfection, they're looking for connection. And connection can't exist if you're not truly there. So if you're finding yourself single and wondering why men don't seem to stick around, ask yourself, am I showing up fully, or am I just showing up halfway? Am I allowing space for connection, or am I sending the signal that my life is too packed for someone else to step into it? Because the energy of presence doesn't just attract a man, it keeps him. And the more he feels you're truly there, the more he'll want to be there with you. One of the most damaging energies that pushes good men away is when past pain is carried into present relationships. And most of the time, it's not intentional. A woman doesn't sit down on a first date and think, let me scare him off by talking about every bad thing my ex did. But the truth is, those old wounds have a way of leaking out. In the words, in the tone, in the little comments that seem harmless. And when a man feels like he's being judged for mistakes he hasn't even made, it leaves him questioning why he should even try. Imagine being excited to meet someone, only to realize halfway through the conversation that you're not really meeting her. You're meeting the aftermath of every heartbreak she's ever had. He says something innocent, and it gets met with suspicion. He tries to be kind, and she brushes it off because that's what they all say. That type of energy doesn't just keep her safe, it keeps her stuck. There's a difference between learning from the past and living in it. Learning means you've taken the lessons, you've built wisdom, and you can spot red flags without bitterness. Living in it means you keep replaying the pain, and every new person has to climb out of a hole they didn't dig. And the reality is, most men won't climb very long. They'll just walk away. Carrying that baggage might feel like protection, but what it actually communicates is mistrust. It tells a man, you'll probably hurt me just like the others. And here's the thing. No good man wants to spend all his energy proving he's not your ex. He wants to be seen for who he is, not constantly measured against who came before him. If the shadow of the past is always in the room, there's no space for him to build something new with you. Now, this doesn't mean you pretend your past never happened. It doesn't mean you bury your hurt or ignore your story, but it does mean you heal it before you try to hand your heart to someone else. It means you enter new connections with openness instead of bitterness. It means when a man gives you his best, you don't automatically assume it's only a matter of time before his worst shows up. Men can feel the difference. They can feel when a woman is open, hopeful, and ready for something new. They can also feel when she's guarded, skeptical, and waiting for the other shoe to drop. An energy like that shapes the relationship before it even begins. So the challenge is this: don't let your past punish your future. Don't let one man's betrayal define how you treat the next. Don't let disappointment harden you so much that you can't receive the love you've been praying for. Because the truth is, the right man isn't looking to repeat your past. He's hoping to create a new one with you. But he can't do that if you don't let go of what's already behind you. And sometimes letting go isn't about forgetting. It's about deciding you're done carrying the weight of something that was never meant to define you. Because when you finally set it down, you don't just feel lighter. You make room for someone worthy to finally step in. A lot of women don't realize how much they're giving nature. The very thing that makes them beautiful can sometimes work against them in relationships. Many women are incredible nurturers. They cook, they clean, they support, they encourage. They make sure everyone around them is taken care of. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's a gift. But when giving becomes one-sided, when it's all about pouring out and never allowing anything to be poured back in, it creates an energy that quietly pushes men away. Here's why. Men want to contribute. They want to feel needed. They want to feel like they matter in your life. When a woman refuses to receive, when she dismisses compliments, waves off help, or insists on doing everything herself, it leaves a man feeling like there's no place for him. And when a man doesn't feel useful, he doesn't stay. Think about the last time someone tried to give you a compliment and you brushed it off. They told you that you looked beautiful, and instead of receiving it, you responded with, "Oh, this old outfit, it's nothing." Or maybe someone offered to help you carry something heavy, and you immediately said, "No, I've got it." You thought you were being polite or independent, but what you actually communicated was, "I don't need you." And when that becomes a pattern, men take it literally. Allowing yourself to receive isn't weakness, it's connection. When you say thank you to a compliment instead of deflecting it, You create a moment of intimacy. When you allow a man to open the door, or plan the date, or carry the heavy bag, you're not saying you can't do it yourself. You're saying, I trust you enough to let you. And that trust builds closeness. The problem is, so many women have been conditioned to believe that receiving makes them a burden or that leaning back makes them less independent. But the truth is, receiving is just as important as giving. It keeps the balance alive. Relationships don't thrive when one person is doing all the pouring. They thrive when love flows both ways. Men aren't looking for someone who does everything for them. They're looking for someone who allows them to feel like they bring something valuable to the table. They're not just providers in the material sense. They want to provide emotionally, mentally, spiritually. And when a woman never allows space for that, when she never lets it give, he starts to feel unappreciated, unnecessary, even invisible. The irony is, most women give out of love. They want to show they care. But when it's only giving, it can start to feel unbalanced, even motherly. And men don't fall in love with someone who makes them feel like a child. They fall in love with someone who makes them feel like a man, someone who welcomes what they have to offer. So here's the shift. Instead of always rushing to give more, start practicing receiving. Say thank you without downplaying it. Accept the gesture without feeling guilty. Allow yourself to lean back and let someone else pour into you for once. That doesn't take away your independence. It simply gives him space to step into his role. Because at the end of the day, love isn't about how much you can give without ever taking. Love is about connection. And connection is built not just by what you do for others, but by what you allow others to do for you.